Following the events at home, the Abbott family now face the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking beyond the sand path. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video, and today is another Fanatic film review. And guys, blockbusters are back. I mean, I took for granted before the pandemic came. I took for granted going to a movie theater, sitting in a movie theater with a bunch of people, watching a big blockbuster film. I took that for granted before the pandemic struck last year. I will never take that for granted again, because we are back with A Quiet Place Part 2. I am so excited to talk about this film. I know some people saw it last year before the pandemic hit. Jealous, because you guys saw a damn good film. But we're going to hop into it. I'm excited to talk about this one. And I think without further ado, let's just kind of hop into the review. So the first real good about this is that Krasinski brought it. John Krasinski, my man, he brought it to this film. Not only did he direct, but he also wrote the film, or had part in writing the film. He brings it. I mean, spoilers for the first one. I'm about to give spoilers for the first one. Him dying might have been the right play, because he didn't have to worry about acting. All he had to do was worry and hone in on the direction and how he was going to direct these scenes. He's only in the beginning. The beginning's like a prologue. He got to hone his craft in this film. The direction in the first one is phenomenal. It really, truly is. But this one is just a hair, a step above. You feel like he's really come into his craft, really come into who he is as a director. And it just absolutely fantastic. Just brilliantly done by John Krasinski. I'll get into more of the details in a little bit. The ensemble here is really very good. I mean, of course you've got Emily Blunt. You know, you've got Noah Jupe, Millicent Simmons, all from the first movie. Give more solid performances. And then you add Cillian Murphy, or Killian Murphy. I do not know how to say that. But just, he brings another level to this film. He brings another level of emotion. I'm not going to get into his backstory, but there is emotion there. There's emotion attached. He has some emotional moments, and you see humanity. The thing about these films, what these films do, and I'm going to get into this a little bit further into the film, further into the review, but I will tease some of it now, is that this is horror done right. You know what? I'm going to save it. This is horror done right because it's showing humanity. It's really showing humanity. So we'll get into that at the end. Beautiful cinematography. This is part of talking about Krasinski's direction. Beautiful, stunning cinematography. There are moments in this film where I was in awe. I'm like, this is a horror movie, and it's beautiful. A certain moment on a beach. That's all I'm gonna say. There is a shot, and it is stunning. And I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like I said, Krasinski is at another level here. He really is. I mean, this film, it is his. You can feel it. It's just brilliantly done. John Krasinski, Jim from The Office, is directing a damn good film. And then it's the writing, the suspensefulness of the writing. So the first film is suspenseful. It's a thriller. That's what it is. But I do genuinely believe that the suspense here is better, and it's more. Adding more than just the monsters is good. They did it in the first film with Emily Blunt's character being pregnant. They did it again in this film. Will not spoil how, but they did it again in this film. that makes it more suspenseful, more convincing, because yes, not making noise is very hard, but if that's the only thing you have to contend with and you have the means to be as soundproof as possible, you probably can make it happen. However, if there is a foil in the plan, if something doesn't work out the way you want to, and sounds are being made, wouldn't want to be where you were at. That is what I really like about this film. I like the suspenseful writing. I like how it doesn't feel like any of the situations they're in are because they are dumb or because they make dumb mistakes. Nothing in this film is dumb. It doesn't follow any tropes, and you truly can believe the situations they're in. You really can. And so I gotta give props to John Krasinski and everyone else who was involved in the writing, because you wrote it right. You did the suspense right, and that is why I love this film so much. The ending's a banger. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. If you've seen it, I'm sure you agree that the ending is a banger, but I do not want to give spoilers away to people who are not able to see it. Talking to you, Amanda, and Ewan up in Canada. Sorry you guys can't see it. I really hope that you guys are able to see it soon. Especially I saw Ewan got his first vaccine the other day, which is great. Congratulations, Ewan. So I'm not going to spoil the ending. I'm not doing spoilers here. But it's a banger ending. It's great. It's well done. And it's awesome. This is horror done right. The horror... I preach that I'm not a horror guy. I don't like horror. Horror is not my thing. It takes a lot for me to really enjoy a horror movie. This is an example of a horror movie that I think works for everyone. Because it doesn't... And this is the same with the first A Quiet Place. This franchise. It doesn't... Its success is not based on the amount of jump scares, the amount of gore, or anything like that. The scariness and suspense comes from the suspense, from the thrill, from those moments where you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Edge of your seat type of writing. That is horror that can get you involved. And you add a few little jump scares. You add a little bit of gore, maybe. And that's still, you still have that horror element, but it's not oversaturated. The Invisible Man was one of my favorite films to come out last year. One of my favorites. And it was a horror movie. But it was a psychological thriller. It was thrilling. It wasn't about the horror. It was about what was happening in the film. It wasn't about cheap jump scares. It wasn't about blood and gore. It was about the actual story and the suspense that was being built. And that happens in these two films. It's not about the blood and gore. It's not about the jump scares. There's some in there. It is a horror movie, so there are. But that's not what its success is based on. The success is based on the story, the suspense, how believable it is, and are you bought into the characters? Are you motivated to care about our characters? And you do. And that is because of the writing, the world building, everything set up in the first film, and now the suspense and continuation of the story in this one. This is a fantastic film. One of the best franchises. I'm calling it a franchise because there's two. This is one of the best franchises in horror, I would say. And it makes you think, it gets you involved, it gets you motivated, and it doesn't rely on blood, gore, and jump scares. It's good. The only real negative I have about this is there's some pacing. I don't think it's perfectly paced. I think there's at least one part I can think of that could be taken out, maybe should be taken out. But that's really like cookie crumbs compared to how fantastic this film actually is. So don't really take that with so much of a grain of salt. That is completely subjective to just me. You may think the pacing is perfect, and you may love the film. So go watch it anyways. That's not a big reason for me to harp on it. But let's get into the point breakdown. Let's just get into it. Entertainment, 22 out of 25. Performances, 20 out of 20. Direction, 10 out of 10. Writing, 9 out of 10. Emotions, 7 out of 10. Cinematography, 9 out of 10. Pacing, 4 out of 5. Rewatchability, 5 out of 5. And automatic, 5 out of 5 points. That means if you did the math, I give A Quiet Place Part 2 a 91 out of 100. I rated it better than the first. I saw the first last night, the night I'm recording this. I gave it an 88. Not too far behind. It only bumped up a few points, but in my opinion, I think this is a better installment. I really do. But guys, let me know down below in the comments, because a lot of you have seen this already. What did you think of A Quiet Place Part 2? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know why. Go follow me on Twitter. You get immediate movie reactions and movie reviews right out of the theater. I do them every time I go see a movie. A Quiet Place Part 2 review has been up since I walked out of the theater. Go check out all my other stuff and subscribe. I haven't asked you guys to subscribe for a while now. I'm pushing to 700 subscribers. We're almost there. We're not too far away. If this is your first time, if you've been here before but you're not subscribed and you like what you see, please consider dropping a subscription. It really does mean the absolute world. I want to push to 700, try to get there as soon as possible. The road to 1,000 continues. But guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the film. Have a rest of your day. We'll see you